guys, good morning. It's Sunday morning, August 8th, 2016. I thought I'd do a follow-up to the last video that I shot of this 1999 Ram 2500. I had actually shot this video that same day and didn't realize that I had it in that vertical video. The aspect of this contour roam camera was turned 90 degrees because I was messing around with some other footage and I forgot to reset it back to the horizon, so I didn't want to torture you guys by throwing up another vertical video, so I figured I'd reshoot it and get it in the right mode here. So let's talk about this new truck, the new 99 extended cab. Why did I buy this truck, you might ask? I used to drive a full-size Chevy truck to work every day until fuel prices just started. I started getting more work, two reasons. I started getting more work in areas where parking was extremely difficult for bigger vehicles, and then fuel prices were starting to creep up. So I got rid of the daily driver of a full-size truck and bought this thing. I looked for a long time to find this truck because, you know, I'm not an impulse buyer, but I really wanted an extended cab, but I ended up finding this one, standard cab, short bed, manual transmission. This had everything I want except the standard cab. It had 40,000 miles when I bought it. It's a 95. The problem with the standard cab is that the seats don't recline, and I'm 6'2", 193 pounds with a 35-inch inseam. My knees are in that steering wheel whenever I sit in this thing, and there's no way around it. There's just not enough room in here. I've put up with it for the last 11 years, but you know, life's too short. Every time I press the clutch in, my knee hits the steering wheel, and it works. It works as a daily driver, but it's not very comfortable on long trips, like when I go up to the ranch. And I'm simply just beating the daylights out of this truck by towing that garbage trailer to the dump on seems like a pretty regular basis, and hauling big heavy materials that this Toyota just doesn't like. So I needed a full-size truck again, and I figured if I'm going with anything, I'm going with a real truck, quite honestly. Last April of 2015, when we Skippy and I towed up that 48 8-inch tractor up to the ranch with the Suburban. The Suburban was towing a dovetail car trailer. I didn't take really any video of that adventure, and it was an adventure to get it up the mountain. More bee poop. It was an adventure getting it up the mountain, and it was right after that trip that I realized that I needed a real truck. I mean, really, the Suburban's nice, but it works better. The way it's set up as a half-ton with a small block gas engine, 700 R4 trans, that's better as a people hauler than an equipment hauler. Yeah, so that's going to be retired. That's going to be relegated to people hauling. And then if you followed my channel for a while, you know I've had a plan for the last 5 years to do a 12 valve 6BT swap mechanical engine, Cummins engine into that. And I'd love to put a manual transmission in that Suburban as well. So that's still on the agenda, to put a Cummins and a manual in the Suburban. But until I have the time to really devote to that project, I got this one. Okay, now the deal breakers on this one. That's right, I put that sticker there. Even in California, it's gonna get rocks thrown at me, but whatever. I didn't want a standard cab. That was a deal breaker. I wasn't gonna shove my body into another standard cab truck. So I had told myself I'm not buying another standard cab, period. No questions about it. I wanted a short bed truck simply because you see how it fits in the driveway here. This is considered a 6.5-foot bed. An 8-foot bed would be just really kind of big for the driveway. So I wanted a short bed, extended cab. Manual transmission was also a deal breaker. I didn't want the automatic overdrive that Chrysler offers. That's a weak link as far as I'm concerned. I mean, yeah, you know, you can dump a bunch of money into an AOD rebuild. You're going to spend $4,000 or $5,000 to have a shop build you a bulletproof automatic overdrive, but that's $4,000 or $5,000 you got to put into just a transmission. There's something I need to do to this 5-speed to get it right, and I'll show you that in a minute, but I wanted a manual transmission. I wanted a Cummins. I wanted an original owner, or maybe even a second owner truck, clean title, 2-wheel drive, right? And people might be going, gee whiz, don't you need a 4-wheel drive? Well, I don't need a 4-wheel drive. 97% of my driving I can do in 2-wheel drive, as it's mostly pavement stuff. I wanted a big, clean, safe truck to get to and from the ranch, up and down the mountain there, and 97% of this driving is going to be done in two-wheel drive. I mean, really, I don't need it. And I have the Suburban for that extra 3% when the snow's really flying and I know I'm going up to the ranch in the wintertime. I can take the Suburban, but I needed a pickup. I need a pickup. That's a need, not a want. And I found it. Bought it from the original owner, unmolested. Oh, it needed to be under 200,000 miles too. That was also a kind of a key point. This one it had 169,000 miles when I bought it. The interior is really clean. Gosh, I just can't get over how clean this interior is. All the trucks in my area that I've been watching since April of 2015, I've been scouring Auto Trader and Craigslist and whatnot. The interiors there was always something like wrong with them. The interior was just beat to hell, or the paint was really falling off of it. This was all the original paint. It's got a few clear coat issues on it. It's got a couple nicks, a couple little dings. It's not perfect, but it's perfect to me because it's all original. Factory sheet metal, factory paint, no rust. And when I say no rust, I'm talking like zero. Even here where, you know, that's metal, where the foot has gotten in and out and rubbed the paint off, and it's rust free. I had to drive it was like 230 miles to another state to buy this, but I saved probably $5,000 on this truck, and I'm not even exaggerating, because all the trucks in my area are just either beat to crap. They want over 10 grand for a beat to crap two-wheel drive manual transmission out here. That's if you can find one, because everybody's got the automatics. There aren't that many 5-speed transmissions in Northern California. They're all automatics because people like their automatics. I'm not sure why. Getting up underneath the truck here, the rockers are completely intact. No rust. Not even like a little chip here in the paint. I banged my finger. A little chip in the paint, but no rust. Here's the bottom of the cab. I mean, it's got a little bitty surface rust here. I'm gonna take some fluid film and spray this up really, really good. Frame is good. Like I said, no salvage title. Full surface rust, a little bit of dirt. But let's crawl up here a little bit. Solid, never been hit. The bed is clean. And it's just a monster. I like it. I like it a lot. One of the big selling factors of this, and one of my conditions of what I wanted to buy, was I wanted a truck that was unmolested. Just not modified, you know, and if it's your thing to put 200 horse injectors and intake elbows and all this stuff that just reduces your fuel mileage, that's on you. I didn't want that. I want fuel economy. The Suburban gets 11 miles to the gallon if I'm really nice to it on the freeway. This thing, when we took it home, I towed that truck home, and it got 25.9 miles to the gallon. Just shy of 26 miles to the gallon, and that's towing that car home on an auto trailer, auto dolly, excuse me, going through the mountains, coming out of Nevada back to Northern California, 8,000 feet, just hauling, 5th gear, hammer down, just to see what this thing had, and I still pulled just a smudge shy of 26 miles per gallon. So anything I do to this truck is going to be completely focused on increasing my fuel economy and not making coal roll out of the tailpipe. And if that's your thing, rolling coal, I don't want to offend you, but that ain't my thing. Rolling coal is not my thing. I want every minutia of diesel fuel that gets squirted into this engine to be put to power to the back tires and not being belched out of the tailpipe. But that's just me. Batteries are kind of sketch. They are 13, 14, 15, 16. They're like 2012, but they're small. You see, they're undersized. They work okay, and they're Kirkland. But I'm going to replace both batteries because that's just me. I don't like being stuck with dead batteries. I have a friend that works for as a Cummins mechanic, and he's got a fleet discount available through Interstate. I love Interstate batteries, so I'm going to go and do a cash sale at Interstate using his corporate account and get some new batteries for it. This discoloration was caused by a grid heater relay stuck on in the middle of the night, and it turned on the grid heater, and it kept the grid heater on until the batteries died. So he came out in the morning to dead batteries, and this is what he saw. This discoloration is the clear coat that's on this. Probably going to leave it. I think it's kind of cool. I like the rainbow effect. It's a nice conversation starter. He has since replaced the grid heater. He replaced the power wires for the grid heater because they got pretty scorched. I don't know how this truck didn't catch fire. and he put new relay heaters. That was like 8 or 9 years ago, and he never did anything either. It never affected the performance. This thing is completely stock, and I love it. It's got a CarQuest alternator. It's like a $200 alternator. He replaced that a year ago. Still has a lifetime warranty on it, so that's pretty cool. You heard the squeaking in the video, Crusty belt squeaking. There are a few things I'm going to do to this truck. One of them involves the killer dowel pin, if you're not familiar. From the first generation Cummins all the way up to 2002, there's an alignment pin for this timing. I don't know if you guys can see it, how well you can see it, for this timing gear cover. And my friend Wayne, whose YouTube channel is The Diesel Stop, all one word, The Diesel Stop, has talked to extensive lengths about the KDP, or the killer dowel pin. And it's an alignment pin that holds this timing cover to the block. They had an issue with some of those pins working their way out and dropping into the timing gears and breaking the case, the timing case, and that makes nothing but headaches. So my intention is to pull the front of this all apart, get in there, take a look at the pin, tap it back in if need be, and definitely tab it. So the KDP has not been fixed on this. When I do all that, I'm going to put a new belt, and I may even replace the water pump, we'll see. But it looks like it's pretty good. The pump's quiet, but definitely new belt, definitely KDP fix, and a new crank seal. This thing doesn't leak a drop of oil, which is surprising to me. I can't even. Yeah, the staining there is actually the Suburban. The Suburban leaks out of the rear shaft of the transmission. The yoke seal is bad. But this one here, for some reason, doesn't leak. I don't know. Totally stock airbox. It's got a K&N drop-in filter right now. I'm not really a big fan of the K&Ns. I'm probably going to go with a big honking air filter, and then I'm going to custom build a heat shield that will still be able to utilize the cold air intake that comes through the fender here. It did come with a block heater. I have no use here in this house in town. It just simply doesn't get that cold. But the mountain house up at the cattle ranch, that definitely is at 4,700 feet, and it definitely gets cold enough to where this block heater in December, January, February, when it's really cold, would come in extremely handy. So in addition to the KDP, I have to change the exhaust manifold. That was one of the things I noticed when I first looked at this thing. You see a crack here, and then there's a crack here in the center. And this center crack here goes all the way underneath out to like 1.5 inches back, right? So it curves all the way around. And that was a really good negotiating factor. You know, that knocked another $1,000 off the price of this thing. So I did really well on this truck. I do have a solution for this, and I'll show you that right now. So my solution, and I've already had this truck a couple weeks, probably close to 3 weeks now, so I've had the opportunity to start collecting some parts. My solution for that cracked exhaust manifold is I could have gone with an OEM stock manifold for they're about $230 plus sales tax. We're 9% in this county. Or I went to, this is called Diesel Performance Source. This is a high flow 3-piece manifold. Now the OEM replacement manifolds are still 1-piece manifolds. This is long. This is 2.5 feet long or so, and it's they have a tendency to warp and crack just because this is a huge casting. Different temperatures, right? The turbo sits right here, so you have different temperatures that are at play on such a long piece of cast. Diesel Performance Source had their DPS X manifold, 3-piece manifold. You see, these are like a ball and socket that are press fit in there. They're extremely tight, right? Tight enough that you're going to still be able to obtain a good seal, but yet still have enough momentum, enough movement that if we were to get any expansion and contraction, it's not going to hopefully cause any fractures. And then you see they've got it gusseted here. Well, this is a very expensive exhaust manifold if I were to buy it retail, okay? So I started looking around. They had this one for sale, almost 50% off of what their retail was, what they sell for all day long, because it has a cosmetic blemish. Cosmetic blem. It was like almost 50% off the full retail price, and it was about $70 more expensive than an OEM. So for an additional $70 versus an OEM, I got a high performance. It flows. I guess it has bigger runners, it flows better, it flows more efficiently, quicker turbo spool up, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole routine. And it's stronger. Sorry, it's heavy too. It's stronger. You see all the gussets they have. And they knocked almost 50% off. And I've looked this thing over 6 times. I can't find a blem on it. I don't know what they're talking about. unless it's this little bit of wear right here. I don't know. So my inner cheapness paid off. Well, I don't even call it cheapness. I don't get money easy, so I don't like spending money easy. This is extremely thick too. That's like 5/8 of an inch thick. So I'm always very aware of where my money goes. And this looked like it's a pretty good deal. The DPS, I started reading on some of the diesel forums about it, and nobody really had anything bad to say about it. It has 1, 2, 3 threaded bungs, so if I ever get a tuner, which I don't think I will, but if I ever start getting some EGT temp gauges or whatever, we can get in there. This is also, more importantly, well, this is more important right here, but it comes with 6 manifold gaskets. It comes with 2 short bolts, which are the guys that go, I think it goes here, just because this is bigger and you can't fit the big long stock bolts, and a little bracket. Most importantly is it's Air Resource Board compliant, CARB compliant, California Air Resources Board, more importantly, because that's where I live. So this is State of California Air Resource Board approved. So that's pretty cool. Bolt this tab on here, bada bing, and then I can't be messed with for my emissions. So with that, I bought a Victor Rhines Molly turbo gasket set, right? Because you got to pull the turbo off this thing to get the exhaust manifold off. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, if I'm pulling the exhaust manifold off and increasing the airflow and the efficiency of the airflow out of an exhaust manifold, and I got the turbo taken off anyway, why would I want to run it through the stock 3-inch exhaust that has a muffler and a resonator? So I went on Diamond Eye and ordered up a 5-inch exhaust. Yeah, but Diamond Eye won't ship to California, even though this is not a catalyst truck. This truck doesn't have a catalytic converter, so putting a Diamond Eye 5-inch exhaust on here will not in any way affect the emissions legality of this truck. Diamond Eye's just decided that the People's Republic of California is not worthy of its sales, and I don't blame them one bit. This state is stupid in a lot of ways. But not to worry, I have out-of-state property, so I have it shipped. It's actually at the cattle ranch right now, and my brother's up there this week with his family on vacation enjoying El Rancho, and he's going to throw the 5-inch exhaust in his truck and bring it home. And last but not least of my scheduled repairs, Wayne over at the diesel stop was telling me how the NV4500s have a problem with their 5th gear retaining nut, has the potential to back off, and it's for 15 bucks you can get the nut kit for the NV4500. It's an updated kit. There's the part number 334795K as in King, and it gives you a new spring washer. It's a little spring washer here and a 5th gear nut. With lock, it has these little Allen set screws that go into the side here to keep this from backing off, and that's a pretty straightforward repair too. Just like the KDP, this one is pretty straightforward. I don't have to drop the transmission. I'll remove the drive shaft, knock the rear cone off the back of the transmission, and change out the 5th gear retaining nut with this. $15 part shipped. And that'll keep it from grenading. I'll definitely get some videos of the process of this truck. I'm extremely happy with this rig so far. It has about 600 miles I've put on it since I bought it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right, so stay tuned for a lot more fun videos. I promise no more vertical stuff. Not a big fan of the aftermarket wheels. I've seen worse, but I'm gonna look for some Dodge alloys. I just like the look of the Dodge rally rims better, and ultimately I'll find some better tires. These are nice street tires. They're Les Schwab tires. They've got about 4,000 miles on them. They're warranted 45,000 mile tires. They say mud and snow M&S, but yeah, come on, that's way too streetable. But that's all right. They'll work for now. They all match. I've got all the paperwork on them. Underneath here, I need to buy the toolkit. The toolkit's missing for the spare tire. It came with, so I've been looking around the interwebs. I'll probably hit up some local junkyards and see what I can find. It came with these slip-on mirrors for towing. I think they're kind of funky looking. I'll never use them. Came with a set of lug nuts, stock nuts, D's nuts. These are the plugs for the bed that go for those hooks. That's my trailer hitch. I brought that myself. There's the jack. I just don't have the wrenches. Let me show you what this stuff is here in just a minute. So you'll notice in the front of the truck that there's some button snaps that have been screwed into the grill. Not my first choice. I certainly wouldn't have done it myself, but it does serve a pretty good purpose, and considering that plastic is starting to peel off that grill, I really don't care that there's snaps in there. He had these, I don't know if you can buy these, I haven't really done much research, but he has these. This is a blanket that goes over the grill for the winter time. He says it comes in really important. It comes in really handy to speed up how quickly that engine, because that engine will run like ice, and you got the little flapper doors, so you can drive down the street like a big rig. You know, the big trucks that put their quilted blankets on the front of their grills to help block some of that cold air. It's another option too if you're driving in the spring and fall when you get a lot of bugs that are going to clog up your radiator. That'll snap in its place to keep the bugs off your important components. This is some kind of spray and liner. It looks like it was professionally done. He said the dealer, it was a dealer, and the tailgate isn't all bashed to crap. I need to buy some touch-up paint because I do want to touch these areas up. But the bed is, or the tailgate's like super clean. The lines are nice. The tape-off lines are nice on whatever this material is, but they did weird things. Like here's really thin. So I want to figure out what kind of roll-on bed liner I could lay over the top of this that will have good adhesion. Probably some solvent base that will soften this material and really get a good stick on here, but I'll look at it. You can see he's never really hauled anything. Look at how intact the sheet metal is in here. This little rusty square was a piece of 1/2-inch steel plate he laid in here, bolted to the bed, and then he bolted his fifth wheel to that plate. He liked the extra weight back in over the wheels, gave him good traction, gave him a good ride. That's all he ever towed, was a 20-foot RV. The bed, he smacked an ATV into the back of the bed here. It didn't hit the cab, but we're gonna make an effort to pull that back straight, and then I'm gonna touch up the bed liner. I am not putting a camper shell on the back here. I'm not putting a lumber rack. I'm not putting a toolbox. I'm not putting one of those hard tonneau covers. This is going to remain an open air vehicle. I'm really tired of crawling around on my knees to get in and out of rigs and having the restriction of the camper shell on hauling stuff that's tall. So this is going to stay exactly like this, and I like that. I like it a lot. The original RV plug was busted. It's a 7-blade RV plug. The original one was broken and kind of hanging out, but he provided me with a replacement. Unfortunately, it wasn't a Chrysler replacement, so I had to cut the stock plug off the harness and had to wire it in, but whatever. It came with the truck. It works perfect. I was able to get her to go. I already went on eBay and I bought adapters. First adapter I bought was a 7-blade to a 6-pin round. This is for RV. 6-pin rounds are typically found on vehicle trailers. So I got the adapter to go to a 6, and I went with a 7-blade to a flat 4, so I'll be able to tow anything I need with this truck. What are you doing, buddy? Go in the house. You can't be out here because you're not smart enough. But they're puppies. Okay, go inside. Go inside. There she goes, back in the house. Pew! Anyhow, for being a 1999 model year, I think it's in fantastic shape. I'm extremely happy. It's all, like I said, never been... I looked underneath. Man, when I bought this thing, the guy thought I was nuts. I'm crawling around underneath it. He said a couple years back he got the front end rebuilt using the heavier Moog components, and that front end is tight. This thing drives straight down the road. Oh, there's no cracks in the dash either. I don't know if I mentioned that. The first day he brought it home, he put that cover on it, and it's never cracked. The dash has never been apart, so there's no squeaks. So we're all good. All right, I think I gotta go now. All right, gotta go, gotta run. See you.